Hey everyone, this is Kyle once again, aka Jurassic Godzilla fan. Welcome back to another review. And now I'm on to the sequel to the first film, Carnosaur 2. Now, the first I said about the first Carnosaur film, which is a really bad, cheap, low budget film, but since I like dinosaurs, I can't help but like it a lot, enjoy it. Because, it's a cheap dinosaur film. Like I said, I've seen much more worse films than this, but I still like the first Carnosaur film, and now I'm reviewing the sequel, Carnosaur 2. And before I get into the movie, if you can see on here, I got this from Hollywood Video, which is like a Blockbuster. A movie renting video store. Pardon me. Which is now out of business. Same thing with Blockbuster, which is very sad, because thanks to Netflix and Redbox, Redbox, you see in grocery stores or outside of 7-Elevens to rent movies there, new movies. Thanks to those, pretty much Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, they went out of business. Which is really sad, because I loved home video renting, especially when I was a kid, Because home video renting when I was a kid, my mom used to rent Tremors all the time, and there was another movie that I forgot that she also used to rent all the time. But I remember most of the time it was Tremors. I've rented a lot of other films at the time, and it's sad that the Hollywood Video and Blockbuster is now out of business. So yeah, but before Hollywood Video went out of business, I bought this because I lost this movie before. So since I saw this, oh cool, I better get this. And plus, since it's out of business, I might as well keep this where it says Hollywood Video right there, just for for memories. From my days that I liked home video renting. So that's sad. Now let's say Carnosaur 2 is a sequel to the first film. It was directed by. It was released in February 23rd, 1995. It was directed by Louis Morneau, who he directed Bats with Lou Diamond Phillips, which I enjoy. I liked Bats. Had fun with that. But he also directed Joyride 2, and he directed the real shitty sequel, The Hitcher 2, I've Been Waiting, with Jake Busey and C. Thomas Howell. I don't own that film because I know how bad it is. Just for So I'm never on the film because it's pretty much an insult to the first. It's an insult to the first film because C. Thomas Howell, he dies in that film because. In the second film he did, because he's a cop for some reason, and it's the girl who has to save the day. Yeah, which is what I thought that was great, because C. Thomas Howell went through all that mayhem within the first film, but in this film he gets killed. So yeah, that's a real shitty sequel. So Louis Morneau, he directed that film, Joyride 2, and he also directed a werewolf film that I forget what the name was, and he directed Bats. Lou Diamond Phillips, which I had fun with. And then he directed this film. And from what I understand, from what I read on Wikipedia, but they're not entirely true, like I said before, it says this film went into theaters. It was released in theaters, but if it was released in theaters, I don't see how much money it made, whether it was on if it was given a limited release or what. The first film made money on a limited release, but I went to several other sites, but it doesn't say what was the box office for this film. So if it was released in theaters, then how come it doesn't show the budget? Even though I could tell it's a low budget film, but it doesn't say how much the budget was, or didn't say what the box office grossing was. So Wikipedia is not that very true on a lot of things. So yeah. So I guess it went into theaters, but I don't know how much it made. And then also, as I said, it's also once again produced by it was produced by Roger Corman. And it stars John Savage, who was in the Ridley Scott film White Squall with Jeff Bridges, and that movie was a flop. And it also stars Cliff DeYoung, which he had I recognize him in some small roles. He had a small part in Glory with Matthew Broderick, and he played the father of the lead girl in The Craft. But he guest starred in an episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. He was also in a film called Blue Collar. He was also in the 3,000 Mile Chase. He was in the sequel to the Rocky Horror Show. So he's been in a few stuff, but if I recognize him, I probably recognize him more in this film, because this is more of a lead role for him and all the other stuff he's been in. So I recognize him more in this film. And it also stars but there's also some other people that I know that's in this film. I know there's a guy here that by the name of Miguel A. Nunez Jr. I recognize him. He has a small role in Friday the 13th Part 5, and he was also in Leprechaun 4 in Space. And I also know him. He was also in Scooby-Doo, and then this film. So, but I know him. I liked him, and I liked him in especially, and it was only he died in Friday the 13th Part 5, but he lived in Leprechaun 4 in Space. Well, and then he was also in Scooby-Doo, the movie, and he was also in this film. And also a guy by the name of Don Strode. He was also in he was in the original Amityville Horror. He was in the original Amityville Horror. He was sort of like the assistant reverend to the main priest in the first original Amityville Horror. He starred in the Buddy Holly Story, that film with young Gary Busey. He was also the bad guy in the James Bond film License to Kill. So you got a couple of recognizable actors in this film. So like the most actors I recognize is John Savage, Cliff DeYoung, Don Strode, and Miguel A. Nunez Jr. So you got quite a few people that recognizable people that I know that's in this. Okay, especially for this cheap, low budget film. And also there's another big thing with this film. This is like to me, like, I've ever seen. This is the biggest ripoff of Aliens. It's the biggest ripoff of Aliens, because there's so many similarities that was in Aliens that they put in this film. Like for the main character being with the kid, like Sigourney Weaver and the little girl Newt. Well, in this film, John Savage, he kind of felt sympathy with this teenage kid named Jesse. Same thing. Who was like same thing. He's also the only survivor in Aliens, and also in Carnosaur too, because the only survivor was a kid, so that's similar there. Or a couple of similarity that a person gets attacked, whether as they're trying to leave in the chopper. Well, in the Aliens was a ship, but in this was a chopper, and the pilot gets attacked and falls and crashes and explodes. There's more similarities which I'll get to. I just want to point out that couple of similarities. So we'll get into the film. At this government facility that's in the middle of the desert. The kid named Jesse, he was gonna break into the storage room because that's where they place to store dynamite, but he gets caught by his uncle, and he was gonna he was gonna do something, but well, he got in trouble for it though. But I don't think he was gonna like leave the facility or something. But he got in trouble for it, and they go to the mess hall. Or in the beginning, or at the start of the film, there was a guy fixing. There were some wiring problems. He hears something, and another thing they changed from the first film, like the Deinonychus, that was similar to the Velociraptor. Instead of them in this film, they just changed it to the regular Velociraptors. They're much more bigger now, you know. He gets attacked. He gets attacked, but you don't see him die. It just shows from the Velociraptor's point of view. It just goes straight towards him. You don't see him die, and that was it. But the kid and the uncle, they go into the mess hall, and another guy, a worker there, goes out back because he thinks it was a coyote out back, but he gets attacked. Once again, you don't see him get killed, but you see him. He gets thrown through the window, and it kills pretty much everybody. Well, not just one Velociraptor, but there was the one Velociraptor killed everybody in the mess hall except for the kid. You know, he hides and he gets traumatized by it, but everybody else in the facility is killed. And it's scratching. My nose is very itchy for some reason. Scratching my nose on this. But then kind of goes to next morning. John Savage. He's a part of this repair technicians. You know, they repair technicians, and amongst the other people, you have is Miguel A. Unez Jr. He's part of the crew, and this other guy by the name of Rick Dean, as a guy named Monk. He's supposed to be like the funny guy in the group, you know. And the funny thing is, he dies in this film, but then he comes back in Carnosaur 3 as a different person. And I liked him. He was very funny in this film. As out of the cast members, he was the guy who always says shit a lot, you know. He says it like this, shit, you know. He says pretty much throughout the entire film a lot of times. And also this woman, this character name by Rollins, and Don Strode as the leader of the crew, and he comes in with Cliff DeYoung. He says he's from the Department of Defense, that he was working with a government facility. They called in a repair crew because there was some malfunction, so they told them they were the closest crew available, so they told them to come out there and try to fix the problem. So they get in the helicopter, and it was funny with Rick Dean, the woman and Miguel Jr. They're playing rock paper scissors, right? And Rick Dean as Monk, he did so like rock paper scissors. He does like this. Every time he just give him like the middle finger every time, you know. And he plays his little radio, goes that patriotic army song, you know, dun 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 dun. I thought he was a funny character in this film. But then they get to the facility, and there's nobody around, so they check the place out. Nobody there, and they get in the mess hall. They find blood everywhere, and then John Savage he finds the kid. You know, he's in shock, so they take him to the infirmary. When the kid is traumatized, and he starts, you know, shaking, you know. They wanted, after that scene, that they want to get out, but Cliff DeYoung, of course, you know, tells everybody, no, we gotta get this place up and running again, so get back to work. They find the problem, so they head back into the tunnel to find the level. As they get further down, Cliff DeYoung says, no, you can't go here. This place is restricted. And then the woman character, Rollins, she finds a tooth, and he's like, oh no. Then all of a sudden, Don Strode, the head of the entire crew, he gets killed. Like a raptor hand pushes him, and then it drags him, and you see he gets pulled down to this manhole, but he gets killed. But you see some kind of some blood splatter onto the hatch the lid of the manhole, and it splats on, and then it closes shut. So, and then the kid wanders off to go get them. Then Miguel Inez Jr. He gets attacked by a raptor. Just hits his face a couple times, and it throws him. Tells the helicopter pilot to get out, and he gets pushed into this small closet, it looks like, and the raptor pulls him up through the ceiling, and he dies. You don't see him die, but you see him getting pulled up from upside down, and that was it. Then the female pilots tries to start the helicopter, and there is your similarity to Alien, you know. Instead of like the alien pops up, kills the woman, you know, starts the ship up, and then it crashes. Same thing here in this film. The Velociraptor attacks the woman. The chopper goes up, and it crashes down. And I know this was a cheap, low-budgeted film, but when that was too cheap, because when the helicopter comes down, it looks like a toy model, you know, like an empty toy model of a helicopter. And then it just crashes, but it doesn't crash right away. It took like about 10 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds for it to come down when it hits the ground, and all of a sudden just explodes. Yeah, that was it was very low budget, but it wouldn't have been that low budget, you know, that cheap looking. So they go back inside and they discuss. Then the clip the under tells the story of how it's happened, and it mentions like the first film, because it was like 2 years ago that the scientists were messing around with DNA messing around with DNA with eggs. It kind of mentions Diane Ladd's character from the first film, you know, messing with DNA, dinosaurs. So he tells him that. And he tells him that they found a way to bring back dinosaurs. And the monk's like, right, I'm Bigfoot and she's a Loch Ness monster. So then I guess they had stored it in this had the rest of the dinosaurs stored in this facility, you know. But then, of course, somehow the dinosaurs got out and killed everybody. So, but then later on, then they try to find out how to get out. But then the kid Jesse gets the idea to the storage area where there was dynamite, where he was in earlier. Yeah, I told him that there's a way we can blow those things to hell using dynamite. But of course, the Cliff Young just doesn't like the idea. You know, tells them to stay where we are, wait till help arrives. But they don't listen, so they go down to the storage area. Cliff DeYoung tries to stop him by locking him in, but no avail. They get out of it. He goes down himself, knocks out Rick Dean, but he gets a little brawl with John Savage. But then he gets knocked out by Rick Dean, and he gets attacked by the Velociraptor. But then John Savage uses a flare gun to shoot the raptor, and that dies. Kills it by just shooting a flare gun. But then they pick him up and they head back to the infirmary. Tells them that he was just doing his job, but there was also this government facility was a place to store nuclear warheads. There was like dozens. He said there were like dozens of them down there, you know, and the radiation is unstable, you know, and it thinks that the dinosaurs they messed something up, and it causes like now the building is set to implode, you know, within 2 hours, you know, because probably some what the raptors did, or so the place is going to implode in 2 hours. So they try to find a way to send an emergency crew to shut down codes. And while they're doing it, they're setting explosives around the different hallways, so the tripwire, so the raptors come through it. Boom. They get and then of course they get the little similarity to Aliens, where, you know, tells that John Savage tells the kid, you know, that he used to have a son die in a fire, you know, and sympathy for the kid feels sympathy for him, and John says feels sympathy for him, losing his uncle, who was the only family he had, So same thing like in Aliens, the Newt losing her parents, and Sigourney feels sympathy for her, and Newt feels sympathy for her too. And then the Raptors, they're tripping the explosives. So they try to get out. They try to go to the elevator, and here's what you get with the film's like the best, goriest death scene is when one of the raptor heads pop out from the top of the elevator and it grabs the woman and pulls her up above the elevator, and then rips her arm off, and then after that it just disembowels her, rips out her guts. And that's like that was like the best gore that's in the film. Because the rest of the kills in the film were not that really gory, like especially in the beginning, So there was no gory death scenes, but here this is the best goriest death scene where the woman gets her arm ripped off and then guts ripped out of her. So then the elevator falls, and they get out, and there's another raptor that's in the way. They use dynamite, throw it, and it kills it. But then they get attacked again, so they go under the wire, the tripwire, and it causes another explosion. And Rick Dean, he gets there was an explosion, but there was some stuff that falls on top of him. He gets injured. And here's another similarity to Aliens, where Clip DeYoung, he tells John Savage and the kid to get out, and then he'll try to save him, but no, they're not going to make it. So here's another similarity to Aliens, where the two aren't going to make it, so they use an explosives to kill each other, to kill each other, along with the raptors. Same thing in Aliens, where the female soldier, she gets injured, but then the other guy comes in. They know they aren't going to make it, so they use a grenade. Same thing here, except it's dynamite, So they both weren't going to make it. So yeah, so there's another similarity to Aliens there. So Clip DeYoung and Rick Dean, they die together. And then John Savage accidentally trips up another explosive, but he falls all the way down to this this thing that had a lot of pipes on it though, and he gets injured though. But the evacuation crew, they're on top side, so the kid goes up there, tells them there's another person there, but they won't listen, so they're gonna leave. But he runs back inside, and they're gonna stay for another 5 minutes. So he finds them. His ribs are broken. He can hardly move, but he helps them. Then they run into the T-Rex, which is it's in a way similar to Aliens. The T-Rex, the Velociraptors are the warrior aliens. Here the T-Rex is the queen, except you don't see no eggs though, or the nest. But there's your similarity way to Aliens. The T-Rex is the queen. They get out of the elevator, but as they make it to the evacuation crew, the kid goes back to the backpack because that's where the detonator was. Then, the same thing in Aliens, where somehow in Aliens the queen got it from an elevator. Somehow the T-Rex works its way up to the surface. It crashes through this metal gate. Guessing there was another elevator available. So that's how it got up to the surface so fast. So that's quite a similarity there to Aliens. Then it kills this one of the evacuation crew, rips his head off. So the T-Rex had to get a kill in there. So rips that guy's head off. Okay, it was like Clint Howard in the first Carnosaur film, he got his head ripped off by the Deinonychus. Then the same thing with the T-Rex, just bites the guy's head off, and then it picks the rest of his body up and just jerks his whole body around, and an arm falls off and eats the rest of that guy. And then the kid goes to get that big mechanical thing that earlier some guy was showing him in the beginning. Throws the switch that is connected to this gate, And like another similar thing to Alien, though, even though in the first film they use a piece of machinery to fight the T-Rex, though, but same thing in here, though. But also, plus another similar to Alien, use a mechanical machinery to fight the T-Rex, like Sigourney Weaver did with the Alien. The only simple thing they did not say, where the kid was saying, like, didn't say anything to the T-Rex, well, towards the end, but he didn't say like a line like Sigourney Weaver said to the alien, "Get away from her, you bitch," But he didn't say that, though. But he gets like pushed back and forth on the machinery until he finally pushes the T-Rex into this deep hole, but he says, "Eat this, Barney," Barney, yeah. Ha 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 ha. So he pushes all the way down, like a long way down, and that dies. And then he finally gets on the chopper and uses the detonation to blow up the entire building. And that's the end of the movie. So yeah, so Carnosaur 2. I do like Carnosaur 2. Same thing, because it's cheap, low budget badness. Even though there were some few good actors, good actors that were in this. Okay. I like John Savage, Cliff DeYoung, and Miguel Unes Jr. He dies, though. Also same thing here on the cover, like for the first film, got some critical positive reviews, including the Golden Scroll Award from the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror. Same thing with the first film. All three of them has that. And some reviews here. The first review, well, you can hardly see there because the Hollywood Videos thing is on here. But what I remember when I had the original, the same cover of this before Hollywood Video, it said here. I can still remember what it says. It says that if you put aliens in Jurassic Park in a blender, C2 is what you get. Yeah, because the wrong place. They said aliens because there was a lot of similar things in Aliens that was in this. I don't know who said it. I don't remember who said it because it's blocking here. But then another next one here is a science fiction adventure thriller at its best. From the same guy who was from the Academy Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror, Dr. Donald Reed, who did the same review for the first film. And this one, Chris Gore, Film Thread Magazine, who also gave a positive review on the first film too. This is the most bullcrap review I've ever heard of. C2 is the film Jurassic Park should have been. I don't know what he was thinking. Did he see Jurassic Park? He has every right to his opinion, but that's the most bullcrap review I've ever heard of. Yeah, so yeah, that's how he wants to remember Jurassic Park by as a cheap, low-budgeted, bad film. Yeah, that's how it should have been. I completely disagree. Completely. I'll say that a million times over. Yeah, that is the most ridiculous film ever. This is what Jurassic Park should have been. It should have been a lot like Carnosaur 2. Yeah, it should have been like an Aliens ripoff, cheap, low budget, bad film. Yeah. I don't know what he was thinking. It's on for an hour 23 minutes. Same thing as the first film. No features, same thing except for trailers. I thought there was they got some decent actors in the film. Okay, then they do fine. Even they still use practical dinosaur puppets. I still pretty much look the same in the first one, except for the raptors, because they look. Oh, the people in suits, I still buy that more. I still buy suits, guys in suits. Than I said the same thing in the first review. I'm not mentioning that. I'm not mentioning sci-fi again. If I say it's better than, I'm saying this stuff is better than sci-fi. So I'm not saying this again. Better than sci-fi. I'm not saying it again. So yeah. So I did like to look at this the puppets in the suits. They still look good. And it has, I don't know how much it has on Rotten Tomatoes, but it has a 2.9 on IMDb, much more lower than the first film. Yeah, because all three of these films are bad, you know. Yeah, but to me, I can't help but like these films because I like dinosaurs, and I can tell it's like all of the stuff, some of the bad stuff I see today. This film is much. These films are much more better than some of this stuff that we have today. And this is especially this is from the these films are from the 90s. So yeah. Anyway, that's Carnosaur 2, and stay tuned for number 3, Primal Species. Later.